In this mini course, we are going to learn everything that we need to know about behavior. I don't want you to think that you've heard talks about behavior, people speaking about behavior, and you know everything about behavior already. The strategies never work. Remember that these courses that we want to offer to you, they're different because we're all about sharing practical, functional strategies with parents and teachers that are really effective. Things that make a real difference in everyday life. My name is Nanette. If this is the first course that you are looking at, I started to be a teacher quite a few years ago now. I've been in the field of special needs and particularly autism since 2009. And I'm also a mother to 3 young children myself. And the same strategies that I share with you are the strategies that I use with my own children. So without further ado, behavior solutions and what we are going to look at in this mini course. We're going to speak about what is challenging behavior and why it happens. It is important for us to understand why our kids are engaging in seemingly challenging behavior, because then only can we understand what is happening and how we can support them, of course, which is what we need to do as parents and teachers. Then making meltdowns melt away. Perhaps you've heard this before, but we're looking at the practical aspects of things here. The differences between tantrums and meltdowns, there are significant differences, even though they sometimes look exactly the same, and that can be really confusing. But we're going to help you figure out what is happening. Is my child engaging in a tantrum or is it a meltdown? And how and why we need to manage and handle and support our kids through this differently. Then when and what to ignore, because sometimes there are certain behaviors that need some ignoring perhaps. And then other times our kids can't be ignored. Perhaps even their behavior is something that we don't want to see. We want to ignore the behavior. We want it to stop, but perhaps it's not always the best option to ignore certain types of behaviors. So what is out there? What is happening with our children? When can we ignore certain behaviors? And when is it definitely not a good idea and not supporting them, helping them, teaching them at all if we are ignoring certain things? So we're going to look at that in detail. One of my favorite ones is replacing pep talks with prep talks and keeping things visual. How can we help our children, instead of giving them pep talks all the time, trying to manage consequences, manipulating consequences to change certain behaviors that we need to see less of? How can we rather use prep talks, preparing our children before they go into a certain situation, and how this can help them to really learn the skills that they need in different environments with different people? So we're going to teach you all about how that is going to make the world of difference for your child and really for your whole family. And then the last one in this mini course, preventing seemingly challenging behavior. Why can we do that in certain situations and how? You'll hear, even just looking at these different aspects, these topics that we will cover, it's a lot about how we're going to do it. Not only why it's there and why we need to understand it, but practically, how are we going to make this work for our kids and also for us? I would love you to do this behavior solutions course because it is going to help decrease seemingly challenging behavior in your child and for your family. It's your family that's going to benefit from this too.